Welcome to Street Psychology Podcast. Today I have my guest here with me, the Hypnotist Judge Mentalist. Today we're just going to be talking about hypnosis, and also we're going to be touching on his upcoming trip to Barcelona. He's going to be going to Spain, right?
Yeah, super exciting. I've learned in the preparation for this trip that at least as far as the segment of hypnosis that I am primarily finding myself in, which is the entertainment and performance side of things, there might not be a whole lot of opportunities for people in the area to see this kind of stuff because nothing has officially, as far as the run of shows is concerned, nothing is officially out there yet. Yet from my social media postings, I've had random people contact me. Hey, when are the dates of your shows? When are you going to be there? We haven't been able to find anything like this here. We're super excited about it. It's the Spain part of it's a new experience for me, and the hypnosis part of it might be a new experience for my friends, my soon to be new friends in Barcelona.
So it sounds like they're really excited to see you.
Yeah, I've had a number of emails from
Yeah.
a number of people. I have a feeling that once the schedule officially launches and gets dropped, what I'm taking part in is the Barcelona Fringe Festival. If anybody has no idea what it means when I say Fringe Festival, it's a concept that started, I believe, in Edinburgh, Scotland, several decades ago, where they collectively put together this period of time that they call the Fringe Festival. They have a bunch of venues of all different sizes, all different formats, and they bring in a wide variety of entertainers and comedians, magicians, and performing artists, and spoken word, and all sorts of things all come together. And then different cities have started doing this. Some of them run for a couple of weekends, some of them run for a month. Barcelona's runs for about 10 days. And I was sought out a couple months ago. Hey, we think you should apply to this festival. I looked into it and applied. And then literally a few weeks later was like, hey, you're in, let's get going, which is super cool and fun. And
Yeah.
I'm excited because I've never been to Spain. I've never been to Barcelona. I've been many places throughout the world, and I've done my show a lot of different places throughout the US and different countries, but this will be a fun excursion to be able to do multiple shows over the course of a week. I'm really putting myself out there on a little bit of taking a few risks with this show. It's an experimental concept where if I'm normally doing a show, I know the routines that I'm going to do, or at least 90% of them. And then depending on the folks I have on stage, I have a series of extra routines that I will do in certain situations. But even those, I know I'm going to do this part of the show for sure. And I'm going to add these particular things in if I've got the right people on stage. These shows in Barcelona are going to be totally different. It's a show concept that I call the Carnival of the Mind or Carnival of Dreams. And the audience members, as they enter the auditorium, are going to write down and suggest routines for me to use in the show. So every time I do one of these shows in Barcelona, it is going to be a brand new show that was written
By the
just for the show.
So the audience is they're gonna write down what they want to see you do,
Yes,
and you're gonna look at the list and you're gonna choose from what they suggest, or how does that go?
I'm still working out the precise logistics, but I have two main ideas in mind, and it's going to go one way or the other. And I may do both and see which works out because I'm doing shows over the course of a week. So I am going to both on the ticketing site as well as with some sort of a poster as people enter the auditorium, explain how the show is going to work. I'm going to give a brief list of some of the traditional routines that one might see, classic routines in a stage hypnosis show, and specifically prompt them to put down something you'd like to see happen in this show that's not on this list. So one of the big classics is that the folks on stage are bodybuilders, and you're going to show us bodybuilder poses, or you're going to show us working out. What happens when people are on stage and they're hypnotized, everything that the hypnotists say to them is absolutely 100% the truth. And they act upon it because I tell them to act upon it. The really cool thing about what I do is that to them, they are in a completely different world. So the things that you see them from the audience miming and doing and acting out, to them, they're really there. They have an entire perception of, like, another one of the classic routines is being a musician, like a rock musician or a classical musician. And when I talk to people after these shows, they'll tell me I was on stage, I was with this band or that band, and I was rocking out to the guitar, or I was playing the drums. The
Mm.
exciting thing about what I do is, let's say I have 10 people up on stage and they're all hypnotized, they're all in trance, and they're doing these things. I am performing 11 different shows at the same time because I'm performing the show that the audience is seeing. But then for each and every one of these 10 people, their experience is so different, so personal to them. It draws off of their imagination, just their experience, the references that they have in their mind. Years ago, I was doing a show, and one of the closing routines for this show was that my volunteers on stage were showgirls, and they were going to stand up and start dancing and show the audience why they became famous showgirls. And the only prompt that I gave them was that they would be showgirls. And three or four of the folks in the middle of this group of volunteers just linked arms and started doing a rockette style kick line. I never told anybody to form a kick line. I never gave any suggestion that directly indicated, but in their mind, that's what being a showgirl was. And they started doing it. A lot of times I have people dancing like they're exotic dancers, all sorts of other stuff. I have had people that have laid down across the chairs because everybody else is standing up and dancing. I was doing a fundraiser show for a group down in Atlanta, Georgia. And I had a girl that laid across those chairs, crossed her legs, and was standing there miming. She was smoking a cigarette and watching everything happen unfold in front of her. I never told her to do that, but her mind and her imagination has created this environment where, to the folks that are in trance, everything that's happening is very real. And obviously, they never leave the stage. They're all right there. None of this is actually happening to them, but it is such a unique journey for each and every person up there. Yes, I'm going to give a couple of those prompts for, I don't want normal things. I want you to be creative and come up with ideas that you would love to see on the stage. And keep in mind, keep it clean because you might be on this stage. You might be doing it.
Mhm.
Now, that's as much of a truth to that individual person as their desire is to be on stage. Because when I do these shows, my volunteers are exactly that. They are volunteers. I will take a few moments to introduce anybody in the room to what hypnosis is, what it's not, let them know how the show is going to go. And then it is an open call for volunteers. I do not pick people from the audience and say, you come up here. Nope, that's not the way I run the show. Some hypnotists will do what's called a group induction, where they will tell anybody who thinks that they might be interested in being on stage in the audience to sit back, follow along. And then as they get people into the audience, pull them
Mm.
up on stage. I don't do it that way. It is purely there are X number of chairs. And usually that number is determined by how many people I have in the audience and the size of the stage. And it's first come, first serve. My intention is to run the show exactly that way. And as far as the formats and how I'm going to write this show, I've got these two ideas, as I said, in my mind. Either A, I'm grabbing all of those suggestions, sifting through them. Anything that's going to be potentially dangerous is not going to be in play. I don't embarrass anybody on my stage. I build my volunteers up. They become the stars of the show. And many times they are buying a video from the show, or their friends and family are, so that they can see everything that they did because it's an unbelievable thing. I tell anybody, my favorite thing to tell anybody who does not believe in hypnosis, who does not believe that it's real or thinks that I've had comments on YouTube with people saying that you're paying people to be there. How much do you think they're paying me to do this show?
Mhm. You pay
Come
people.
up on stage and act something out. No, that's not happening. And it'd be weird because I'd have to find different people every time because hundreds and hundreds of show videos, it's always different people because it's always different people. But I tell anybody who is a non-believer, go to one of these shows, whether it's mine or somebody else's. Go with a group of people that you know, friends, family members, otherwise. One of them inevitably is going to want to go on stage and try it out. And there will be a moment where it's almost like you've seen a light switch change in that person and they become someone else. For the hour or so that they're up on stage, you will see that personality change. They will come out of their shell if they were somebody that was a little more keep to themselves and an introvert. And you will see them do things legitimately that seem so out of that personality character, not in a negative way. I would say 99% of folks who are doing these shows do it exactly the way that I do it with respect to not embarrassing anybody, building them up, making them the stars of the show. There are folks that will do more adult themed shows, and they're very clear about the fact that they're doing a very adult themed show. There used to be some on the strip. Those are a little bit of a different category. You may not walk off the stage from one of those types of shows being completely proud of everything you've done, but who knows? Different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely.
Hypnosis is a really fun concept. The two paths that I may take with this is A, taking what's left and actually crafting a show, or B, crafting part of a show and then keeping them in a fishbowl or something on stage and pulling something out. And okay, this is the direction that we're going.
Okay, and that's in the moment,
And either way, even if I take those suggestions and it's happening 10 minutes before the show.
which
Yeah.
is unusual, right?
Most folks come in the way that I normally do the show. I've got a set list in mind. I've got a section of the set list, probably about 2/3 to 75% of the way through the show, in which I've got routines that if I have really creative people on stage, and you can tell because they're very emotive, they're very just really into what they're doing. Some people are just so much more mentally visual than others. So the experience for them is such a deeper situation than maybe some of the other folks on stage. If I get some of those really good people in an amazing state, it lets me take things in different directions. I've been invisible on stage. I have had people speaking alien language on stage. I've had other people on stage interpreting that alien language in English for the audience. Those kind of things they don't show up in every single show, but they're there. That element of it, there's always an X factor in my shows of, hey, am I going to have the right people in the right state to be able to take it a little bit further? I always want to, because those are just exciting and fun moments, but it doesn't always get there. The shows are always fun, but sometimes you get some people that are either way too deep and they're like slow and sluggish and not really bouncing around. Because people go up on stage for all sorts of different reasons. Some of them want the attention, some of them want to try it, some of them just need a nap and they think all I'm going to do is go up there and take a nap for an hour. That will sometimes manifest in people where they're just zonked out.
Yeah. Is that like when you snap your fingers, they don't wake up?
Will come around and they certainly wake up, but I will tell you that being in trance for even a short period of time, but normally the time in which people on stage for me are actually in trance is anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes as much as an hour.
Mm,
They will emerge from that experience feeling like they just took an 8 to 10 hour power nap, even though they were only up there on stage for less than an hour or maybe around an hour. It is refreshing. It is energetic. And they've gone through this amazing experience. And sometimes in the shows, I try to do different stuff at almost every show, at least rotate through it so that I have a lot of people that will come to my show that have been to it before. And even though every show, if I did the exact same set list every single time, because of the people I have on stage, every show is going to be totally different. But I still feel like I have an obligation to the people there to just change that experience up. So every so often, I'll do a routine in which I have folks that get on a rocket ship and they go into outer space. And now we're going to land on a mysterious new planet. And this is really where, and I love this routine when I get to do it. It's not super over the top exciting for the audience in this moment, but I have these folks get out of the rocket ship and walk around on this brand new planet. They're the first humans that have ever been on this strange and mysterious planet. There are plants they've never seen before. There are little critters that are roaming around. You can reach out and you can pet them. None of them are going to bite. And this is literally how the verbiage is going on stage.
Yeah.
These folks are seeing this stuff. I have had people come up to me after those. How did you do that? Where did you take me? I love talking to these folks, having them describe that experience because I know I'm taking them somewhere that doesn't exist. So I know that nobody up on that stage is seeing what anybody else on that stage is seeing. Everybody is drawing their own unique picture of this experience. And it's so unique. It's so personal to them. It'll never be recreated anywhere else in the world, ever.
You mean so when you say that, you mean for them, for you, or so another hypnotist couldn't go and say, "Hey, we're stepping out on this new planet," and gives another group that experience?
It'll be totally different.
Because
If you
yeah.
have 10
Okay.
people on stage in those crime TV shows where they would have the person, the sketch artist,
Mm,
and you saw this person, tell me what he looked like or what she looked like, and then the sketch artist draws them and shows is this. If you were to have a sketch artist that was there and their job wasn't to draw a person, but to draw what you saw on this planet. If you had 10 people on
mhm.
stage, you would have 10 totally different drawings from that sketch artist describing what it is, where that person was, because they're drawing from their imagination. What if I tell you we're going to go to a strange planet, brand new that nobody's ever gone to? You're not in trance right now, but there are visuals that are
Mhm.
popping into your mind. There are things that you think of and they may not be what I think of or the next person thinks of. They are coming from your own mind, your own imagination, your series of experiences throughout your life that give some sort of credence to what some strange new planet would look like and what kind of critters would be walking around on it. And to me, it's super exciting and super empowering. It's like giving somebody a gift and an experience to do something, to see something, to be there that outside of that context, even if it were a virtual reality world, let's advance the technology of virtual reality 10 years.
Mm.
So it's super immersive and it's super realistic and you feel like you're there. You're still in somebody else's dream. You're still in somebody else's vision of what they're crafting that world to look like. In hypnosis, in a situation like this, I'm steering you in a direction, but you're drawing the picture. This is your journey into a
Only
world
yours.
you have created. And again, if you and I were to do this side by side and then go talk to that sketch artist, it's highly unlikely that our pictures are even going to be similar because you've got something in mind and I've got something in mind. And maybe there's some crossover. Maybe our leaves look similar, but the critters will probably be different and the plants will be, the perspective is going to be different. There may be a stream for you and there may be rocky cliffs for me. Who knows? And who knows what the colors and the shapes, everything is going to be. And really, with all of those things, like I said, I've had people that have said, "Hey, I was on stage with this band or that band when we did guitar routine or the drum routine or whatever it is in that moment, what my volunteers are experiencing. I'm not trying to take credit for any of this because hypnosis and hypnosis shows have been happening for hundreds of years. It's a very real experience to that person in the moment, to each of those people. It's just very unique to them.
Okay, one thing you said is that you're not trying to take the credit for
And
get
then that
some credit.
hypnosis,
Well, you're taking some credit for what you do. Y
for
Yeah, go
sure,
on.
I am giving people through my show the opportunity to experience this journey. And this journey is going to be theirs, it's going to be unique to them. It's going to be unique to that night. And especially in the format for what I'm doing in Barcelona,
Yeah,
where night to night, I could have the same people fill the room every night. And even the same people come on stage. The shows aren't going to be the same. The experiences are going to be totally different. Later on this week, and I'm not quite sure when this episode's going to launch to the world, but through the show website, carnivalofdreams.com, I'm launching a Kickstarter that's going to run for most of the month of September. If people are interested, even if you're not going to be in Barcelona, in being a part of the behind the scenes group, seeing all of this stuff unfold, getting video of these shows as they run. I'm not putting live streaming on there because I can't anticipate what kind of I'm going to have and whether I'm going to have good connectivity. I'd love to offer live streaming. I just can't guarantee it. Or the ability for people to suggest routines, even though they may not be able to attend the show. All of that can be done through the Kickstarter. So I'm going to be getting ideas for this show from the audience that's there and from an audience that's all over the world.
yeah, okay, because like you said, we're not gonna be able to watch virtually.
All the shows get recorded. If anybody follows any of my social media, you'll see all sorts of clips from various shows that I've done over the years, and those are getting updated. New stuff is getting rolled out every couple of days. I have a team that does it. Some of those routines that I've talked about on here are out there. They're on social media. It's hundreds of videos over the period of time. And it's always being updated and always new stuff being added. And there'll of course be clips from these Barcelona shows. And later this month, I'm performing at a pirate themed festival doing pirate themed shows. So all of the hypnosis shows are going to be pirate themed, and I'm going to have people on a pirate ship and all sorts of different scenarios. Those are going to be in Maryland. So that's going to be a ton of fun as well. All of that's going to be mapped out ahead of time. But again, it's going to be very much in a theme and a very unique experience and journey for folks that want to jump up on stage and be part of that.
Yeah, no, that definitely sounds fun. Pirate themed, I'm just visualizing the people. There's so many things I can see,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
with a yeah, pirate.
Some of it is what people are acting on stage. Some of it's having them say things. So we're going to find out what everybody's pirate name is and what they're known for and all sorts of stuff like that. It's going to be an adventure. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah. I'm curious about what you said earlier about the showgirls because we're talking about individual experiences. Everyone has their individual experience, but you said this group of four right in the center, they decided to link arms
Yeah.
together. So, what is the reason when a group is on the same page?
It really draws on your experience and what the words I say mean to you. And to have a group of people that just that triggered something for them, or maybe, and again, I'm facing the audience probably about 80% of the time during my show. Me seeing this, they were already doing it at the time that I noticed it. People linking up the arms. It may have been initiated by a few who were the leaders, and then the others followed along. But it was something that this show was maybe a year and a half ago. And it was something that I hadn't seen before in one of my shows. It was something that I haven't seen since. Let's say you're like, there's no way I'm ever getting up on stage. That is no reason to not go to one of these shows because 99% of hypnotists are not pulling anybody up on stage that doesn't want to be there. The whole practice of being hypnotized and going into trance is super voluntary. It's super consensual. You have to There is no voodoo. You may have seen cartoons growing up. It's a common
Mhm.
theme on things like the Flintstones and Scooby Doo, where somebody's a hypnotist and they've got this voodoo element. No, it is fair to say, and many people will say this, is that all hypnosis is self hypnosis. And that the job of the hypnotist on stage or in a clinical session, which is something that we should absolutely talk about, this being a psychology podcast, is some of those clinical uses for hypnosis. My job is to be a guide. I have to, in a very short period of time, teach the people that are on my stage how to hypnotize themselves because there are no magnets. There is no weird spell. It is me guiding these folks into a place where they have turned off their conscious mind and they are letting their subconscious mind do the driving.
Mhm.
They have done this to themselves. Somebody who doesn't want to do it, somebody who wants to be resistant, it's not likely to happen for them. Are there outliers? Are there people that are just highly susceptible to the suggestions? Of course. But as far as what I would need for somebody to be a good performer on my stage, they have to want to do it. It's why I run my show 100% voluntary. I'm not there to embarrass people. I'm not there to make people uncomfortable. I don't want anybody on my stage that doesn't want to be there. I don't mind if you're skeptical, but have an open mind. I don't know that I think this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a good try. They're some of the best people to have on stage because if they get into that mode, they have the time of their lives. But yeah, I think it's important though also to talk about the clinical side of things because there are clinical practitioners and I have a certification. I just don't do it as a career. I got the certification, so I had a deeper understanding of really everything that was going on my stage and to the best of my ability is going on in the minds of my volunteers. And it's super important for me to understand that because these folks are my show. These individuals who volunteer to be part of this show end up being the show. I'm the ringmaster. They are the carnival. They are the circus. They are what's exciting about it. But folks have done amazing. People are doing this all the time, making positive changes in their lives, breaking habits that they haven't been able to break on their own, smoking cessation, weight control, anxiety relief. And sometimes in just one or two sessions, people are having life changing impact from some of the fine folks that are doing this day in and day out for clinical.
That's a good point. I'm curious about the clinical aspect, and it's not usual to happen in one session. Like you said, 2 is a good case, but how many clinical sessions does it take to break a habit or to change something?
So I think a lot of that really relies on the person who's going through or attempting to go through the change. Baseline concept in clinical hypnosis, and really any hypnosis, called threshold. It is somebody being at that point where they realize it really breaks down to three things. Number one, that they have an issue. A lot of people are in denial. A lot of people who suffer from anxiety, depression, addiction, what have you, haven't come to terms with the fact that they're suffering in that way. It's just part of life. So step one is recognizing that there's a problem. Step two is recognizing that you are the core of that problem. It's not somebody else doing this to you. It's not some outside influence that makes you this way. It's that you are that problem and you are the core of that problem. You are the essential element. And then wanting and legitimately wanting to change it. You can't force somebody into recovery. They're going to relapse. They have to essentially hit rock bottom and on their own decide that it's time for a change. Hypnosis is the same thing. Now, can it be effective for a short period of time for somebody who's not at threshold? Certainly. But somebody who knows there's a problem, knows that they're the root of the problem and is legitimately ready to make that change, they can do it in one session because the hypnotist is breaking. They say that it takes 21 days of consistently doing or not doing something to make a habit.
True. Yeah.
And a lot of that is routine. A lot of that is conditioning. A lot of that is distraction or the lack thereof. In hypnosis, those problems, the noise, what gets in the way is from the conscious mind. And it's something called a critical factor. It is the thing that when we are walking around and we are aware of the people around us and what they might be thinking about us and about what we're wearing, that consciousness is what gets in the way. We've created identities for ourselves. And many of us have many identities. You're a psychologist, you're a podcaster, and you're many other things that I'm not aware of, but you are. You think of yourself as, and everybody thinks of themselves as the things that they think they are. People who smoke habitually are smokers. So some of it is getting into the subconscious mind, getting past that identity, releasing that identity. And in a way that we are at the root of it. You can create habits almost overnight through hypnosis, sometimes within a few hours of a session. Two of the big areas that would be used would be smoking cessation and weight control. Hypnotists would come to town. They would get a conference room at a hotel. They would advertise in the newspaper when that was a thing and say, Saturday morning, quit smoking in an hour, $100 or whatever they would charge. They would put hundreds of people in this room. In that room, several hundred people. They would go through some education. They would do a group trance. Again, some of these still exist. There are some folks still doing this. It's just not as widespread as it used to be. The information age has made it so that how we get information and learn about things like that, there is no newspaper that everybody's picking up every day and reading anymore. There is no one place that everybody goes to get information like this. So it's more difficult to put these things on. They get in a room, they go into this group trance, and there are different methodologies about just breaking down. And a lot of these practitioners will do and layer this stuff where we're going to break down the identity. We're going to make it so that the smell and the taste and just the thought of cigarettes makes you queasy, so you're no longer attracted to them, and many other things that folks will do. And at the end of the sessions, they'll sell a lot of times like self-hypnosis audio to reinforce the process. So people can take those home, they can listen to them first thing in the morning, or they can listen to them before they go to bed, or maybe both, to help solidify. But statistically, and this is across the board, somewhere near 50 to 60% of the people would attend these sessions, not do the reinforcement, and never touch a cigarette again in their lives.
Hmm.
And then when you poll amongst people who purchase and utilize the reinforcement stuff, that number jumps to 80%. Imagine if anybody out there listening that's a smoker, what are cigarettes? Like $10, $15 a pack these days. A lot of people smoke a pack every day. So for the cost of what somebody's spending in just a week, depending on the region you're in, the pricing changes, or even if you were to do a one-on-one session with a hypnotist doing this stuff and you kick that habit, let's say that session costs $300, $400. And like, again, I'm not directly in that world. I'm connected to a lot of people who are, so I don't know exactly what the price would be. And again, that's also going to vary by region. But for less than the cost of what you're spending in a month on cigarettes, if you never touch them again, just the financial benefit over the course of the year and what you're saying, the health benefit, the years you're adding to your life, the easier to breathe it'll be in a period of time when all of that leaves your system. Incredible, amazing, transformative stuff. A lot of people specialize in certain areas. There are guys and gals that do smoking cessation. There are some that do mostly weight loss. There's a colleague of mine over in the UK that almost exclusively helps people improve their golf game. So it doesn't even have to be for bad stuff. You can reinforce focus, you can improve your memory, all sorts of amazing things that can be done. Athletes use it all the time. Some of the greatest athletes that we've ever, I'm talking Wayne Gretzky used hypnosis, Tiger Woods, hypnosis. Many of these great, Michael Jordan, he, in those hypnosis sessions, would visualize the ball getting smaller and the hoop getting larger. And that's why it changes and shifts that perspective. And he took that onto the court. And we all know, no matter what you think of LeBron, greatest of all time, number 23. It's so hard to argue.
Not with
And
me.
he could just land one. And in crunch time, when it mattered most, he was there that would land it.
Yeah, no, that is very interesting. I never thought about people like Michael Jordan being hypnotized to be better as an athlete. And I'm sure, like you said, this is happening right now. This is really common in sports.
Again, it doesn't have to be, if you're sitting out there thinking, I don't have some bad habit that I need to kick, look at it from the other perspective. Maybe it's time management. Maybe it's
Mhm.
procrastination. Don't wait till next month to kick your procrastination habit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you want to, you're a procrastinator, but many elements of your life, you don't have to look at it from a purely getting rid of negatives perspective. We can increase your productivity. You can be more outgoing if you want to be more outgoing, and it can be any number of things.
Two things. Have you been hypnotized and do you hypnotize yourself?
And it's a very kind of calming, reflective type of situation. I have not done so in a show, not
Okay.
yet. I don't know why. I think that a lot of it is seeing new hypnotists and wanting to sit back and observe what they're doing and how they're handling their audience and how they're handling their volunteers. And even though I've done a ton of these shows and I've been doing this for years and I lecture at conferences, I feel like I'm always learning. I'm always trying to take in new stuff and just realize little nuances of how other folks, but eventually I'll get myself to the point where it's okay. I've seen this person's show before. It's time to go up there. But that part of it hasn't happened yet.
Okay. Like you said, because you want to experience and continue learning.
Yeah. A lot of times I'm these shows for a different reason than everybody else is going because I'm there to soak it up and see a new performer, new to me. But yeah, it's a ton of fun wherever you are in that room. I love it. It's something that when I started doing it, I was immediately hooked. It was such an incredible experience for me, not just for the volunteers in the show. And there was no turning back.
That and that's a question too, because you're a judge that
In real life, I'm an attorney.
an
The judge,
attorney.
the
Yeah.
judge
Okay.
persona is for stage.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not a formal judge, but that is the name that I go by on stage. But yeah, that is a world where I've spent over a decade in the legal profession. And I will say that when I learned about hypnosis and started doing hypnosis, it was I knew that it was for me because there were many language principles that I was already using
Like
to
what?
go with present cases.
How
Overlapped.
okay, okay.
Yeah. Success in the legal world for me has come very much from being able to project and create the proper perspective to tap into people's emotions and really make it so that a judge or a jury have a deeper understanding of what my client has experienced and what my client has gone through. And as a result, when you can do that in a way where you can elicit emotions that you're not necessarily allowed to tell people to think about, like you're not allowed to say things like, what would you do if this were you? But I can lead people there without saying those words. I can make people feel that they are in my client's shoes. I'm not hypnotizing anybody. I'm not hypnotizing juries, not in any sort of traditional sense, but it's perspective building. It's framing. It is many times shifting that paradigm of thought for those people that are in that jury box or are the judge for that particular day so that they have a deeper understanding and appreciation and some empathy and compassion for what my client's gone through. And these were things that I was doing far before I started studying hypnosis, far before I knew that naturally I was instilling some of these principles. So that I still practice law, but that transition, so to speak, into being able to perform on the stage was almost natural and instantaneous for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, and I can see how that overlaps a little bit when you
Yeah.
have that gift already. Like you said, I was doing this before I studied hypnosis, and it does overlap, just guiding people and bringing them into this world. What made you say, "I want to study hypnosis"?
I had a curiosity probably from a very young age. It probably came from some of those wacky cartoons that I mentioned before and other places. I will say that the way that it is depicted on TV is not really close to the way that it is in real life. I got to a point in my career where I financially had the stability and I had a large enough operation and staff that would afford me the time to go and learn it. When I learned hypnosis, I traveled to Las Vegas. I trained with the longest running hypnotist headliner. His name is Kevin Lapine. He still runs a show in downtown Las Vegas called Hypnosis Unleashed. So anybody, I highly recommend anybody that is curious. And let's say that you're nowhere near where I'm doing a show, but you want to see this and there's not one near you. I feel like almost everybody has some sort of reason at some point in their life to want to go to Las Vegas, whether it's shows, whether it's now it's becoming more of a sports town destination. Some people are gamblers or like to party or whatever it is. Seek out this show. It's called Hypnosis Unleashed. It runs 5 nights a week. It's downtown at a casino hotel called the Four Queens. And it's the guy who taught me and has opened the door to me, as we've talked about traveling the world, to do this thing that is so fun for me, so fun for audiences. Every time I'm in town, I make sure I go to his show at least one night. I have seen him, a professional that's been doing this for decades, still learning, still evolving, still
Mm.
improving that show. It's better every time I see it. I highly recommend anybody that finds themselves in Vegas, look up Hypnosis Unleashed in a town where almost every ticket to any show is close to $100. Tickets to that show are like 25 or $30.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Like you said, this is a teacher. You still honor him for what he helped you with and what he's doing today. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking if you were to go get hypnotized, it'd probably be by him,
It might be if I were going to do it in a stage
possibly.
show. His,
Okay.
his, his show represents a show that over the years I've seen enough times that even
Yeah.
though it's new, even though he's always evolving that show, he's probably where I jump up the first time.
Okay. All right. We're getting close to the end, but I have this thought about me because I told you I've been hypnotized in a clinical setting. I don't think it worked for me. And we talked about maybe why that's possible, but maybe I was a little bit hesitant. Mine was for fear of dogs. My family is just giving me this genetic trait of that, and I want to get rid of it. A lot of people are scared of hypnosis, but not me. I was like, let's do it. But I don't know what happened. I don't know why didn't it work for me?
Earlier, I mentioned that all hypnosis is self hypnosis
Yeah.
to a very large degree. And I'm going to talk about this from my perspective in an entertainment setting. I bring people voluntarily up onto my stage, and in a period of about 5 minutes, get most of them into trance. I'd say about 80% of the people that I bring up on stage stay up on stage for the whole duration of the show. But a handful of them every night get sent back. It is a skill for somebody to learn how to do, and they're learning how to do it many times for the first time in 4 or 5 minutes. So even though it may not work the very first time, it doesn't mean that it can't work for you, that it won't work for you. You didn't ride a bike the first time that you got on that bike. Most people don't. And I'm not saying that most people don't get hypnotized the first time they try, but it is a learned skill. Some of it could be, hey, you need to try it again. You might want to try it again with somebody else. It's possible that they worked at the phobia from a direction that may not have connected with you. It may not have connected with your subconscious. And it's no fault of the hypnotist necessarily. They're meeting you. They're spending a few moments with you and then getting down to business. They don't
Mhm.
necessarily have everything that they need to be able to assess that full situation. The phobia work is fun. The folks that I've talked to about it. Do you want to walk through an exercise? I'm not going to hypnotize you. I want you to imagine something with me. Okay. You're walking through the doors of a theater, like one of those old school projection video up in the box. And you're going to sit in the theater's absolutely empty and the lights are on for right now. And you're going to find yourself a seat right in the middle of that theater. And as you're sitting there, you're looking up at that screen. I want you to imagine that you actually leave your body. And now you transport yourself up and into that booth. So now you are in the booth and it's a closed in booth and the camera's just shooting out through a little hole. When you press that button and you flip that switch, the lights in that room go down and you have the ability to turn on that camera. And there's a glass so you can see out. You can see the screen. You can see yourself down there in that theater, looking up at that screen, waiting for the movie to start. You're up in the booth and you're watching yourself down there and you're just watching. And when you're ready, you just flip that switch on and the movie starts to roll. And you're watching you in that theater, watching this film. And on that film, you see yourself, but it's not actually you because you're in the booth watching you watch that film. And you're approached in that film, not you in the booth, not you watching the film, but just in that projection, you're approached by a dog and the dog is smiling. And that dog comes up to you and you, not you in the booth and not you watching the film, but you in the film, pet that dog. The dog rolls over and you could almost see happiness in you on that film. Not you in the booth and not you that's just watching you in this film. And you're going to hit a button and you're going to see all of this rewind. You're going to rewind this entire scene all the way back to the beginning. And you're going to hit play again. And when you hit play now, you see you and you're standing in a park. And now you're approached not by the dog that you saw before, but a cartoon dog with a big old grin on its face. And that dog is going to come up, not to you in the booth, not to you that's sitting down there watching this film, but this cartoon dog with its big goofy grin going to come up and it's got these furry little legs and they're all sorts of different colors. And it's just this patchwork, silly looking dog. And it's going to jump up in the arms of that person up on the screen. That's not you in the booth, not you that's down there watching that film. But you can almost see that you that's down there watching the film smile, seeing this cartoon, silly looking dog with a big goofy grin jumping into the arms of the you that's on screen, not the real you, not the one that's back here in the booth protected, by the glass and by the walls, not the you that's sitting there just watching that film, but the one on the screen. And we're going to take it, we're going to rewind that thing one more time. We're going to go back to the very beginning. And it's just you standing there, somehow with a big smile on your face, remembering what that goofy dog was like. And I want you to imagine that you now go from that booth back into the body of the person that's in the theater that's watching that screen. And you're going to stand up because now you are that person that is in the theater that was watching the film. You're going to walk up to that screen, and the person that was on that screen is going to come out of that screen, and you're going to hug that person. You're going to take that person in, that person who just had that enjoyable experience with that silly patchwork dog with the goofy smile on its face. And you're going to thank that person and realize that now that person being part of you, no longer going to have problems, no longer going to have any sort of apprehension about dogs. Anytime you're in the presence of a dog, you're just going to think of that silly, multicolored patchwork cartoon dog. It's going to make you smile. You're no longer going to have any fear. You're just going to smile about that silly dog you watch on that screen.
Wow, I just went to another world. I had to force myself back out into this world right now.
And we didn't even hypnotize you. That is just
Exactly.
what you chose to do in that moment was focus and go somewhere else. You allowed your imagination to take you there. And reach out to me the next time you're in the presence of a dog. I'd love to see if just that little imagination journey.
I'll definitely reach out because I'm curious.
I know you'll be thinking about that multicolored patchwork dog and the big smile.
So I was hypnotized
You'll see.
a little bit. We'll see.
It's an experience that's different for everybody. And there are different depths of trance. And again, you went somewhere else and it's in your mind. It's part of you. And I feel like it's going to give you some great positivity moving forward.
I received that, and I thank you.
If nothing else, a fun little laugh the next time you see a dog.
Yeah, because I can still see it. It is funny with the little colorful legs and stuff, and that's just funny. So that's a good start. Yeah, I wanna say we are at the end here, and I wanna be respectful of your time. I've had an amazing conversation with you today. I learned some things. I may have even changed a few things about myself.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, at all. So any final things that you want to put out there or just wrap up for the world?
I want to encourage anybody to explore any curiosity that this talk and our conversation may have created with you, whether that is seeking some sort of guidance from a hypnotherapist near you, whether it's just reaching out to me. So that carnivalofdreams.com website is specifically for these shows in Barcelona. But if you wanted to go to judgementalist.com, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm happy to talk to you about hypnosis, answer questions like this that you might have. I am not a hypnotherapist, so it's not going to come as the, okay, and here's your bill for $300 or whatever it is at the end. I love talking about this stuff. I wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't love talking about it. See somebody's show. It doesn't have to be mine. They are a lot of fun. Folks are doing them all over the place. A lot of times you'll see hypnosis shows at different county and state fairs, depending on what part of the country you're in. And when those shows exist, they're part of the admission. So you just figure out what time and what stage the show is going to be on and you go watch it and take friends, get somebody to volunteer yourself, but depending on what kind of experience you want to have and just enjoy it because it's a ton of fun. I love doing it. I love sharing it with people. Feel free to reach out to me if anybody has any questions. I love talking about it.
All right. We love hearing about it. Anyone who's hesitant, just know that I did it and I'm okay. Yeah. So thanks again. Hopefully, I'll reach out to you for sure when I have that experience and we'll go over it from there with a colorful dog and see how that
Yeah.
works. And I hope you enjoy your trip in Barcelona. And it's just amazing because it's already an amazing experience for you either way.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna be a lot of fun. And the more and more I learn about the lack of hypnosis shows in that area, the even more excited that I am about taking it there and sharing it with folks and doing it in such a unique way.
give them the gift. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Same. Thanks.